Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm not sure we're running good today. We were having another technical issue just like a couple of weeks ago. So everybody on YouTube, let me know if everything is working good there. I mean, is everybody hearing me and seeing me and everything? Because it doesn't look like we got Facebook going for some reason. William Rizzo says looks good. Okay, thank you. Facebook is having an issue. I don't know. Alright, cool. Alright guys, well, welcome back to another episode of Golf Cart Garage. I am Tim. We come here every Tuesday. We talk about golf cars and sometimes other things, but mainly this is a golf cart channel. I work for golfcartgarage.com. I'm a member of the Gearheads on Demand service that we offer. That's where you can, if you want to speak with me one-on-one about a golf cart issue, you can. Here is the pay rates for that. And if I can't help you, you will be refunded, by the way. Okay, Galactic Technologies. What's up, Daniel? David Irwin. What's going on? Checking in from Mason Groby. What's up, Mason? William Rizzo, Galactic William Flower, South Alabama. Rob Cedar, South Carolina. Joe Foster, Kings Mountain, North Carolina. Bracing for winter storm. Yes, we're getting a little bit of that here too, Joe. Helpless knows about it. Mighty Cold in Cabot, bracing for nasty ice and snowstorm over the next 2 days. Yeah. We're having a little bit of that here too in Arkansas. It's cold outside and I got a little notification on the bottom of my screen right now that says light snow. So I think it may have started, but it's going to be today and tomorrow. It's going to get pretty cold here. I would think they're talking about 8 degrees tonight. I know that's nothing to a lot of you guys, but Mike Irvin, afternoon 18 and snowy in southwestern Indiana. Haven Speckman from Alamo, Texas, 78 degrees. What's going on, Haven Speckman? Thank you for joining us. Robert Edwards, hello from Chile, West Virginia. Kurt, looks like winter has returned here in Florida. From Kurt Bauer, 49. I see you're getting some lousy weather. Yes, sir, I am. Gene Hansen, 13 in sunny Michigan. Frozen 20 in Orange County, New York, Rich East Main. Mason pointed out I'm running late. Yes, I am, Mason. Sorry about that. I am running late because we're having an issue. Iman will have to figure that one out. I don't know what the deal is with Facebook. What's up from Northwest Indiana? 11 degrees, Big Mike. Daniel, I'm doing good, man. How are you, sir? Stephen Miller, 15 degrees and partly cloudy here in Michigan. Stephen, I'm sorry about the delay on your package. I just sent you an email before I sent you an email today with tracking number. I can assure you that it is in transit. So you should, when you check your email, you'll have a tracking number. It's UPS tracking number, by the way. Sorry for the delay. We had some things going on with the warehouse and didn't get shipped out as quickly as possibly. Stephen was one of our past winners, or last week's winner, or a couple of weeks ago now. But yeah, and I know he still hasn't got his hat yet, but it is rolling according to the tracking number. David Irwin, look, Galactic looks good and sounds okay. I was trying to get Facebook, but it's not working. Yes, that's what I was saying. That's the issue. Something to do with Facebook started messing up. MRC Schnauzer 2. Let's see. From Brazil. What's going on there, MRC? How are you doing, sir? Gary England, hello from frigid Indianapolis, here in Porto Alegre, South Brazil. Cool, thanks for joining us there, MRC. 13 in, Rob Cedar says it's good. 13 in Indiana, Jerry Kelly, Stephen Miller. I got it, thank you. No problem, Stephen. Sorry for the delay, man. Here in Brazil. Cool. I don't know why Facebook didn't work. It's irritating. but we'll get it. Okay, this is Tuesday, February 18th. If you were watching us on YouTube only today, at Tuesday, February the 18th at 12 noon Central Time, you're watching us live. We are only live today on YouTube. Not exactly sure. Yeah, we're international now, Mike, with Brazil in the house. Cool. Yeah, I'll figure out the that Facebook glitch somehow. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. I'll throw my hat into the Marco to see us from San Diego. Marco Castillas. What's going on there? Marco, thank you for joining us. I tell you what, I'm going to announce today. I'll tell you in a little bit. Follow us on YouTube and Facebook. We'll get the Facebook thing worked out. But here's some other platforms you can follow us on. I always like to run those other social media links. It's Instagram and Twitter or X, whatever you call it nowadays. If you'd like to send me some pictures of golf carts that I'll feature on these live episodes, you're welcome to. There's my email address. That's 00timfreeman@gmail.com. I'll put it up there again later on in the episode, but if you'd like to send me some pictures, that's a good way to send them straight to me, and I'll feature them on the show. All right. Normally I have to go check Facebook, occasionally, but I guess I don't have to today. It is definitely not working. All right, no problem. I guess it's out. All right, let's get started with the first question. Doing okay here, Tim. Daniel says, working with my industrial sewing machine, about to be working with some canvas for a golf cart. Cool. Daniel, send me some pictures of some of your canvas work. That would definitely be interesting. If you're making, canvas tops and stuff for golf carts, we'd like to see that. So send me some pictures on that. This is question number 1 is from Richard. My sister-in-law's 3691 Club Car Lester Charger shows 56 volts output. Is this possible with a 36 volt charger? It makes a normal buzzing sound, but the amp meter never reads anything. There are a couple of batteries that show low voltage and will not hold a charge. The batteries are about 2 years old, and I'm wondering if the charger is responsible. Thank you for your time. Okay, that was Richard. My first question would be, how was that 56 volts output determined? Where did you have your voltmeter when you come up with that voltage? Because that should not be the case for sure. But I tell you what I have seen. You said this is a 91 Club Car, 36 volts, but you didn't tell me how old the batteries were. I have seen some batteries go off the chart before when they're bad, like when a charger gets plugged into them. As far as what I mean by go off the chart, I mean their voltage would go off the chart. Like that car obviously is supposed to have 6 volt batteries in it. Well, I've seen them when they're bad, like you put a charger on it, and I've seen the voltage go up to like 14 volts, really quick. So that could be the explanation for your high voltage. So I'd have questions about your battery pack itself on how old it is, and I'd want individual battery readings with the charger plugged in. All right, let me see here. Kevin Sawyer, what's up, Kevin? Good afternoon. Running a little late here in Northwest Indiana. No problem. We're having another issue with Facebook, Kevin. So anybody that's normally on Facebook, I hope they find us over here on YouTube. And hopefully next week we'll have that glitch figured out. Number two. Number two is from Terry. Can a 1989 club car be converted from the coils to a controller? It's a 36 volt, serial number A89. That is definitely an 89. Okay, yeah, well, sure it can. A DS, that's a DS, that's a club car DS. A DS frame is a DS frame. You know, they're the same from 89 for many, many, many years. So anything can be converted, you know, with the advances or the upgrades in electrical systems. You can just pick your year of how far you want to go with your conversion. Like, if you wanted to go to all the way to 2003, somewhere like that, then you would be converting it to a relatively modern club car IQ system. So you'd get an IQ wiring harness, you get an IQ controller. You're going to have to yank that potentiometer because the IQ system uses an M core, so you're going to have to get a pre-M core to M core conversion kit, you know, to get that in place. But it will all bolt up, and the wiring harness go in place, your new controller, your motor will bolt up to your same rear end. So yeah, the answer is yes, it could be done. It's a project, but it could be done. D-Max, what's going on, bro? Local DMV rules, that's a good topic. Well, I don't know, you know, what all we're going to say about it. We're going to, because I don't know all DMV rules, but that's why we'll talk about that for sure. And I think that's this next question is the reason that I brought up that topic, or I named this episode from that topic. It says, hi Tim, have you encountered any issues with modifying licensed street legal cars? From Billy. See, that's where the answer to that would be no, I have not. But there may be some people that have, and I could understand why there may be a problem with that. If you modify a street legal car, they may have to that local DMV may want to re-inspect it. You may have to get re-inspected again if you change anything, because you may have crossed the line somewhere. Like otherwise, you know, they got to draw the line somewhere. I mean, you can't have a street legal car that's unsafe. And so they might have, you know, we've all seen golf cars that are unsafe. I own one myself that's very unsafe. So I don't know how they would, how they're going to react if you lifted your car 6 foot off the ground and it was street legal before. Is it still street legal? You know, that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to check with them to see if they're going to need to do a re-inspection or not if you modify something. And I don't know how nitpicky they're going to be. All DMVs may be, you know, more or less nitpicky. Number 4. Ray Hall. What's going on, Ray Hall from Mississippi? Thank you for joining us. Number 4 is from Aldrich. 1994 Yamaha G9A ignition coil reading. I'm trying to eliminate an electrical problem on an old gas golf cart. Took the ignition coil to AutoZone and they tested the following readings, but have no idea what would be correct. Primary is 5.1 ohms, secondary is 18.54. Are these readings good or bad? I am trying to replace one at a time. Okay, number 4. Primary, you said, was 5.1. Okay, I looked this up, and your primary should be 3.57 to 4.83 at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're pretty high, but not real high. So that one may be normal. Now let's go to the next one. Your secondary is 18.54 ohms. Okay, I'm showing in the service manual that the secondary is supposed to be 11.2 to 15.2 at 68 degrees Fahrenheit. So that one, again, is real close, but it is pretty high, and you're on the high end of what the manual actually says. But it could be just a matter of temperature. You know, these both say in the service manual that these readings are at 68 degrees. So if you're doing it as something drastically different than that, that could be the reason for the discrepancy, because you're about the same distance out on both of them. David Irwin says he was told if he increases his horsepower, it would not be able to be tagged. That's exactly what my point was. They got to draw the line somewhere, you know, because otherwise they'd be just it wouldn't be right, you know. So I would expect them to draw the line somewhere. Now his DMV is drawing it at horsepower for sure. Benny Russell, what's going on, Benny Russell? Good morning, sir. Bob Lewis, late but glad to be here from Southeast Alabama. Hey, Bob. Thank you for joining us, sir. Number 5. This is from Simon K. When I matched my serial number, the Yamaha site said it was a 94 G9A, which shows 2 wires going to the ignition switch. I have 4. When I checked the wiring diagram for a 95, it shows 4 wires matching the colors on my wires. Does this make any sense? Do you know what the extra 2 wires are for? Well, this is just a prime example of when you look at a year chart for golf cars, it doesn't matter if you're talking about Yamaha, you're talking about Club Car, you're talking about E-Z-GO. When you look at a year chart and they say this is for certain year, 95 to 2000, 2001 and a half to, so you gotta remember, they don't make every change on January 1st. In other words, there's going to be some spillover from the last year into the new year. So you have to determine if that's what the case is with your golf car, since the colors are matching up and since it's 4-wire, that's exactly what I would expect. It's just a late year spillover into the next year where they made some changes. So in other words, you're going to probably have to get the wiring diagram. What did you say? For the 95. For the 95, that would be probably what you need instead of the 94. Number 6. This is from Franklin. I have a few E-Z-GO carts. My keeper is a workhorse. Do I rebuild stock motor or big block it? Well, that's where we would get into the question of what is your application? You know, what are you using it for? If you wanted to big block it, you know, that's up to you. But that would be totally for somebody who was trying to make a, you know, like an ATV type vehicle or a side-by-side type vehicle or something fun to, you know, to drag race in. Might not be as reliable, you know, it just depends on what big block you do and how good you are with modifications and tuning and how much of that you really want to get into. There's some bolt-on, you know, big block applications, but I get a lot of people that ended up with something that they really weren't ready for because it didn't work exactly like the old setup did. If a regular stock E-Z-GO is fine for you, let's see, what was this? I would do a rebuild on the stock motor. We've talked about that before. There are companies out there, you know, if the power is fine, if your power is fine on a regular workhorse, then I'd just rebuild the stock motor unless you were trying to build a race car, because that stock motor is a real good motor. And there are companies out there that you can send that motor to if you don't want to do it yourself. There are companies you can send it to, send it off, and they'll even give you a core credit for your block that you sent them. So, and when it's all said and done, it's a very reasonable price. I don't know what it's going to be, you know, because the price changes all the time, and we did just go into 2025, but it used to be around $700 or something by the time it was all said and done, which I thought was completely worth it. So, look up golf cart rebuild companies on the internet, and most of the ones I found are around Georgia, and the reason that is that's because where golf carts are made is around Georgia. So look that up and see what you can find. There's one called Motors and More, I believe. There's some other ones too, and there's probably some more competition that I'm not aware of on that. So the answer is just depends on what you want out of your cart. If stock is fine, then that would be the easiest way to do it. You're guaranteed it's going to run correctly, and you'll be happy with it for a long time. Number 7. This is from Charlton. I want to put at least a 6-inch lift. I have heard that the club cars are the Cadillac because of an aluminum frame. I have a nice 2004 E-Z-GO that isn't lifted yet. What brand of golf cart would you suggest getting? Okay, and you're going to lift it at least 6-inch. Okay, let's address the club car being the Cadillac because of the aluminum frame deal. That's not exactly true. See, this is where I have this conversation with people all the time. They ask me, which golf cart, and I hear people say that club car is better because it's got aluminum frame, or E-Z-GO is better because of this and that, and for different reasons. Well, the bottom line is this, guys. When we're talking about the 3 major manufacturers, E-Z-GO, club car, and Yamaha, those 3 major manufacturers. Forget all the other stuff that's out on the market now. Those guys have been in competition with each other for decades. Not just a little while. We're talking decades, back to the 50s for E-Z-GO and club car, or 60s. That being said, if there was one design that was better, clearly better than all the rest, they'd all be the same. They would all be the same design. So in other words, if an aluminum frame was so much better than all the rest, all 3 of these manufacturers would have an aluminum frame by now. That's what I'm saying. Now, there's pros and cons for everything. And I think we've talked about pros and cons for aluminum frame. And I can tell you this, battery acid doesn't care. Battery acid doesn't care if your frame's aluminum or your battery racks are aluminum or steel. It doesn't care. It'll eat them both up. It'll eat them for breakfast, and they're just gone. So I just wanted to address that first. Club car is not the Cadillac because of an aluminum frame. Now, some people may prefer club car because of different reasons. But I wouldn't necessarily call it a pro just because it has aluminum frame. It's a different design. For your application, it may be fine. If you've had trouble with rusting in the past because of water damage or anything like that, then that may be a good choice. What else was it on there? Oh, 6 inches. Either one would be fine. I have a nice 2004 E-Z-GO that isn't lifted yet. Well, there you go. Either one would be fine. That's a club car with a 6-inch. You can put a 6-inch on an E-Z-GO. As long as you plan on modifying the controller and motor and upgrading that, you'll be fine with either one. Or Yamaha even. Rob says, most of what I own is unsafe. I drive an 82 Chevy S10 because I like it, not because I have to. I'd like to have that S10, what's it called? Cyclone? A Typhoon and a Cyclone. One of them was the SUV and one of them was the truck. I'd like to have that one. That seems pretty unsafe to me too. Sir Walter, is any one of the 3 easier to lift than the others? It just depends on what kind of lift. It's not necessarily a brand of car that makes it easier to lift. It's the design of the lift. Like there are different types of lift kits. You've got spindle lifts, which are the easiest to install. The rear of a golf cart is pretty much the same on all lift kits. It's basically just blocks, that raise it up. You put your blocks, your leaf springs on top of the axle on top of a block, but the rear is usually lifted the same. The front is where things can be different. And some of those are a little more difficult, a little more complicated than others, but it has nothing to do with the brand of golf cart. It's just the design of the lift kit itself. You got long travel A-arm lift kits. They involve a lot more stuff than just spindle lifts. Spindle lifts are just, you take your spindles off, you put a longer spindle on it, which drops the wheel down. That's how the front's lifted. So it's mainly about the front of the cart. Joe Foster says V6 turbos. Yeah, that's what those trucks had. Crazy horsepower in a small truck. All-wheel drive system. It was pretty cool. It was ahead of its time. It was very fast. Rob Cedar, I finally got the cojones to drop a lead acid onto concrete to knock the sulfates off. It cracked across the bottom and both sides. Yeah, I never had the courage to try that. I had heard that, you know, what we talked about before, that you can drop one really hard and to knock some of the sulfates off, but I don't think I would have ever had the guts to do it. Kirk says, Tim, what are the benefits of lifting a cart? I would think it'd make the cart more unstable or even top heavy. It does, Kirk. There's no doubt about it. That's why some lifts, like real inexpensive lifts, don't do anything but lift the car straight up, and then that would do exactly what you're saying. That would make it top heavy or unstable. It could do that. More likely to turn over because you're higher up on the same footprint. The real cheap lift kits don't even change the front pin. Now the more expensive lift kits, they actually widen the front a little bit and sometimes even push it forward an inch or so. So you got to think about that. Some of the lift kits that really put thought in it actually do change the footprint of your car a little bit, and they even recommend offset rims, or they design the lift kit to where it wouldn't even take rims unless they were offset, which actually makes it wider again. So not only did the lift kit make it wider, then you mount your new offset rims on there. That makes a wider footprint in the front and in the rear, therefore making it a little bit more stable, because you're up in the air now. So as far as the benefits go, mainly just off-road benefits. That's the only thing. And if you're going to do that, then you're going to have to change your electrical system also, because you're going to burn up the stock one if you go off-road on a stock golf car with tall tires. We talk about that a lot. Okay. What was that? Number 7? Yeah, that was number 7. Number 8. Number 8 is from Arnold. I'm new to golf carts and I'm looking to buy a good used E-Z-GO. What model, if any, do you prefer over the other? I'm looking to speed chip a 2000 or newer model. Use it 3 times a week on the golf course and run around the retirement park where I live. Any advice on what to look for? Any advice at all, I'd appreciate. Looking to buy a good used E-Z-GO golf cart. Looking to speed chip a 2000 or newer. Okay, well, if that's the case, then you're talking about an E-Z-GO PDS, because that's the only one that would take the so-called speed chip, which is really not a chip at all. It's just a plug with a wire across. It's just a plug with a jumper wire. There's 4 different ones. Well, any PDS in stock form, put you a speed chip in there, or it's called the Freedom Plug if you try to look it up. It's not called speed chip. You're going to get a whole lot of conflicting information if you plug in speed chip to look for that, because it's really called the Freedom Plug for an E-Z-GO PDS 2000 or 2001 and newer, in that range. I don't think I have one right here. I know I've got one somewhere in here, but anyway, that will increase your ground speed to like 19 miles an hour. even though it's just a 36-volt car. Still goes about 19 miles an hour, and it's a proven design. That electric system's been around for a long time. It had a really good run before they went to another 48. Before the TXTs went to a 48-volt system. So you'd be fine with that setup. And you can always modify it if it's, even more. And now this is especially if you're going to leave the stock tires and you're not lifting it. I mean, you're never going to hear me say that you can lift stock PDS and be fine. Never going to do it. Maybe in an asphalt neighborhood like Big Mike and Kevin ride around all the time, but not any type of off-road thing. D-Max, hey Tim, if you like the way your stock golf cart ride, isn't it best to go with a spindle lift than an A-arm lift? If you like the way it rides and your application is not rough, like what are you trying to do when you're putting this lift kit on there? Are you fixing to take this to the deer lease, or are you still going to just ride around on maybe the beach and asphalt stuff? If you are, spindle lifts are less expensive, and they're fine. They're fine. They're just not as heavy duty as some of the A-arm lifts. As far as the ride goes, I don't really find if there's that much difference in the way that they ride. It's just spindle lifts are considered less heavy duty, but less heavy duty is fine for asphalt and just light off-road. But if I was building a hunting cart out of a golf cart, I wouldn't go with that. That's why that one has a drop axle. I mean, you got spindle lifts is the bottom, like as far as the lowest duty lift kit, and then you have A-arms and drop axle, where the whole axle is a drop. See, spindle lifts just replace the spindle, and the spindles themselves is a drop. On a drop axle, this is only on Easy Go. The whole you would get a whole axle, and the ends of the axle come down, just like a drop spindle would, but it's one solid piece. So that's a little bit more heavy duty than a spindle lift on an Easy Go. Now on a club car, like I said, it just depends on your application. If you're just riding around the neighborhood, maybe the beach is as rough as it gets for you, then a spindle lift would be fine. D-Max says it's just for the neighborhood because you keep your stock leaf spring in the front. Yeah, that'd be fine. Spindle lifts are fine for that, just for the neighborhood. Number 10, it's the last regular question. I understand my 2003 Club Car IQ DS comes from the factory with 3 possible speed settings. I think my cart is set on the lowest one. Is there a way for me to change that setting on my own, or do I have to take it to a dealer to have it changed? This cart has the computer port just below the forward and reverse toggle switch. Thanks. That's F-I-L-L-E. I wonder how you pronounce that. Filet, or Philly, or Filey, something like that. I don't know. All right, let's see. On a 2003 DS IQ, they come with a Curtis controller. I'll probably have one right down here in the drawer. But no, you can't access it with just regular equipment. Okay, you got to have a Curtis controller reader. And so, to answer your question, you're probably going to have to go to a dealer if it is set to the lowest setting. And you're right, there are some settings that they can unlock for you that will increase your speed. So the answer is, the only way that you're going to have access to that kind of stuff is if you change that controller completely. You can change that controller to a Navitas or something and have access to the settings with a Bluetooth app on your phone, or even maybe even your laptop. But the controller you have in there, you're going to have to have a special Curtis reader. Now you could call and ask a golf cart shop. You can make some phone calls and ask them. This would be what you would need to say. You would say, do you have the ability to change my settings in my stock DSiQ cart? And tell them what year, and they'd know exactly what you mean. You know, because you might not have to be a dealer in order to be able to do that. I'm not sure now. It used to be you had to be a dealer, had to be an actual club car dealer, but I'm not sure now. So make some phone calls and see. Rich Eastman, I'm thinking of going. Hey Manny, what's going on, Manny? Some of you may remember Manny. Manny worked for Golf Cart Garage. I think he's doing something else now. He moved on, but Manny, some of you may have spoken to Manny before. What's going on, brother? Rich Eastman, I'm thinking of going with a 4-inch A-arm lift for my Precedent to allow for 20-inch tires. It will also allow for camber adjustment. That's a good idea. A lot of people on a Precedent, I've heard a lot of people, they run into trouble with camber on certain lift kits because lots of lift kits don't allow for camber adjustments. Most of the inexpensive ones don't allow for camber adjustments. So if that's important to you, and it must be important on a Precedent, or they wouldn't make that camber correction kingpin. There's a camber correction kingpin for a Precedent that, you know, for people that have done something to their Precedent, or they put a lift kit on it and now their camber's way off, they can change the kingpin and fix it. So in other words, that's a common issue with a Precedent after you put a lift kit on it. So where was we at there? That was yeah, that's the reader port is under the forward and reverse toggle switch on there. Yeah, so make some phone calls and ask the golf cart shop if they can change your settings. They're going to charge you for it, but it shouldn't take very long if they can. Okay, I don't have any pictures. I had something else planned for this episode, so I didn't get pictures, but I don't want to do it if the Facebook is not running. So we'll do that. I'll do that next time. I'll do my email again. This is my email, so send me some golf cart pictures or some, like I was telling Daniel, send me some pictures of if he's doing some canvas work. That's 00timfreeman@gmail.com, by the way. So send me some pictures to that for some. I'll feature them on the show. We'll talk about that. Now, as far as the title of this episode, it was local DMV rules, and the bottom line is that if you're going to do modifications on your golf cart and you don't want to get in trouble, then you're probably going to have to notify your local DMV and see if it's okay, you know, with whatever it is you're planning to do. Because everybody, it's not like a set rule with all these DMVs all over the United States and everywhere. So you're going to have to check with them if you're worried about getting in trouble. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that just do it, modify them, and a lot of things you could probably get away with unless you really had a real mean cop in your neighborhood or something that saw that you were, you know, busting the 35-mile-an-hour zone or the 45-mile-an-hour zone, speed limit zone in your neighborhood, and he was having a bad day. So you might ought to check on that. You're just going to have to, I mean, there's no way that I could know everybody's DMV rules. So you're just going to have to check with them, explain modifications that you're talking about. Kevin Rabbit, a lot of talk about improving ride today. Anyone try using a lift or air ride seat like they have on mowers and forklifts? Might not work with a roof if you're tall. I've actually thought about that, Kevin. I've never seen that in a golf cart, but there's a jet boat that I want that has that. And every time I see that in that jet boat, those air ride seats, and lots of jet boats that go up river, you know, the real expensive ones that go up the flowing river, up the Whitewater, up the rapids, they have those seats in them because they're constantly hitting bumps. And I've always thought that would be cool on any type of off-road vehicle in conjunction with your regular suspension. That would be neat. Retractable or fold-back canvas top would be cool for a car. I could get a little sun on my bald head. I've thought about that too on G1s, like my G1. You know, I've always talked about G1s because they're the best ever, a gas G1. But the way that a gas G1 works, the whole rear body raises in order to access the engine. Well, that makes the top a little difficult. So what Yamaha, I don't know if there's anybody in here that actually has a G1 with a top. Well, what happens is when you lift the rear body, the whole top moves with the body. So you've got this top with supports that comes back. Well, some G1s have that top secured to the front. So when you open the body, you have to disconnect how it's secured to the front before you can lift the body. So it's a complicated issue with a G1 on what you can do and still have a top. So I wanted to do what you said. I wanted to have a retractable or fold back canvas top on the rear supports that would, flaps in the wind a little bit, but it's still a canvas top. And then I don't ever have to worry about connecting it to the front or disconnecting it. I can still raise the body. I never did it. I don't know why, because it wouldn't be difficult to do. I just wear a hat, so I don't get burned on my head. Sir Walter says in North Carolina, autos need to be inspected yearly. Do carts need annual inspection? That's a good question, Sir Walter. I bet the answer to that question is all over the place for all of these different areas. If you're in an area where your cart is street legal, I would not doubt it if they need annual inspection. I wouldn't doubt it if that is the case in some areas. David Irwin says not in Florida. They don't have to be inspected in Florida. Well, the bottom line is if you've modified your cart and you don't want to get caught, and you've modified it to the point where the only modification you did is you made it too fast, then just be cool on the pedal. If you in your neighborhood, don't go buzzing around 45 miles an hour if it's illegal. Then you'll never get busted for it. See there, Kevin Salyer says he's in Indiana. He says in his town requires an annual inspection, so we get our own town permit. The inspection is just checking for lights and seats, basically. No seat belts required. All right, cool. Joe Foster's in North Carolina, not inspected. So it just depends. It depends on where you're at. Don't know how to comment from there. I used my phone for this post. Hello all. Hey Craig. That's the same way when I watch. I follow some people on YouTube, just like people follow me on YouTube. I follow some other guys on YouTube having to do with stocks and stuff. And when I watch it on the TV, I don't know how to comment there either. So I'm in the same boat. I end up having to crank my laptop up anyway, even when I'm watching it on the TV, just so I have a place to comment if it's something I need to comment on. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay. I ran the social media. I'll show my email again here in a minute. If you would like to order something, parts or something from a golf cart garage, you can. I have a new active coupon. I did not have this last week, but here is the new active coupon. Go to Golf Cart Garage and you can get 5% off any parts you order. If you use coupon code TIM29. Code expires on March 15th. Yep, TIM29, March 15th, 2025. That's the new code. That is an active coupon code that you can use at checkout. Let me close that. Tim, did you do any more testing on the new battery? It's, you know, since last week, D-Max, we've been having some weather issues, and no, I have not been able to. I tell you what's happening. I'm getting my A terminals on the motor. You know, this is still, my whole setup is still 36 volts, okay? That cart has been in a storage building, though, for a number of years, like 3 years or something, with no batteries in it. So all I did, and as far as I can remember, it ran fine before. Now, I put the lithium in there. Everything's fine. It runs. But very short period of time, my A terminals on my motor, A1 and A2, they get way too hot. Way too hot. I don't know what's going on there, to the point that the car will shut down. I don't know if it's the battery shutting down or if there's those two terminals. So I think what I'm going to have to do, because that wire's not getting hot on the other end of the wire. It's getting hot right at the motor only. So I'm going to end up having to pull the motor and see if there's any type of oil or something that might be in there causing it to have some kind of loose connection. So I'm not blaming the battery yet, because I think I may have a motor issue. So I'm going to have to eliminate that, and it's not stock. That motor is field mapped to the field map that's in the All-Tracks controller. It came together. So I got a little work to do. Or I might change it, because that's an old system that's been in there for a long time. It is an All-Tracks controller, but it's been in there for years. I mean, I've never had a single issue out of it. Rich Eastman says he cast it from the TV, cast it to the TV from his iPad, so I can still comment from it. Okay, cool. Joe Foster, local township governs for insurance and makes sticker money, $15. There you go. Sounds like you need a new motor. It's very possible, because it gets hot to the point that the car shuts down. And don't think I haven't looked at voltage on the battery too. Thinking that it was the battery shutting down. So I put the voltmeter in the seat with me and run it till it shuts down. Voltage never gets below 36 volts. Never even gets below, and the car still shuts down. So I don't think the BMS is that strict, that it shuts down at 36 volts. So anyway, so that made me, narrow it down right away to either solenoid, controller, or motor. Nothing even warm hardly, except for those two terminals on the motor. So I'm pretty sure that I'm getting such big heat built up, or such big amp draw on those two terminals for some reason, that it's losing connection and just completely shutting down on me. So I got yes, Craig, my solenoid, it clicks. Yes, it clicks until it doesn't, but yeah. Yeah, even I have golf cart issues sometimes. Okay, here is, before we get out of here, here's the contact number for our Golf Cart Garage. There's a support@golfcartgarage.com. If you want to send an email to that email address is on the home page of golfcartgarage.com. So you don't have to remember that. That link is on the home page. So if you want to make sure, if you want to send me something through that email, you can. Just make sure you put attention Tim in the subject matter, and somebody will make sure I get it. There is the phone number for Golf Cart Garage. We are going to be, if we get this, if we get the Facebook thing worked out between now and next episode, I'll go ahead and announce it now. We're going to give away a hat next week, okay? But next week will be the last time, or this will be the last time, corrosion in the crimp connection from long storage, Rich Eastman. Yes, I thought about that. I may cut them and re-crimp something just to see if it goes away. But you're correct. That could be an issue. There's definitely not any corrosion on my A terminals at all. At all. We're going to give away a hat next week for if I get the Facebook issue, because I don't want to do the hat day with just YouTube. I want Facebook on there too. So here are the hats. I always like to show those. There's some links in the description that take you right to them if you'd like to purchase one, but we're going to give one away next week. And here's some new stuff from Eco that you're going to have a choice. Next week's winner will have a choice. There's a t-shirt, and there's one of the Eco battery hats that you're going to have a choice from. Here's the other Eco battery hat. It just says EB lithium on it in green. Pretty cool. There's the t-shirt front. That's the front of the t-shirt with the other. We got two Eco battery hats and one t-shirt. That's the same t-shirt. That's just the back. That's just the front and back. So we'll do that next week. Somebody will be a winner next week. But like I said, that's only if we get this Facebook glitch worked out. And I don't have any pictures, so let's see, where's my email there? There's my email. So send me some pictures, guys. 00timfreeman@gmail.com, and I'll feature those on an episode. I have a folder I put all the pictures in that people have sent in, but I'm running out. D-Max, I think I'm going to pull it and see if I can fix it if there's something wrong with it. I think I'll be able to tell if there's something wrong with it. So I'm going to pull the motor and see what the deal is. And I don't know if I end up with a clarification that it is the motor. I don't know if I'm going back with the same setup. I might go back with a Navitas or, you know, something, because I mean that would be a crazy cart, you know, with a whole Navitas system on it. I mean, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Because like I said, that system has been in there for, oh man, I don't even know what year I built that car. But like I said, it hadn't given me an ounce of trouble. I've gotten way over my money's worth out of it over the years. I mean, I used that thing for everything, and never had a single issue with it. But I think that it, you know, what else, Rich? What else? Give me your opinion, Rich, because the long-term storage is the only thing that has been going on. Now, it was in long-term storage without the batteries in it. There was no electrical power anywhere in the system. It was in long-term storage. So give me another opinion of what could have happened because of long-term storage, because that's the only thing that's happened to the car is long-term storage. And all I did was put a lithium in it, and now I've got some issues. Craig, is the t-shirt size extra muscular because I'm pretty buff? I can tell you this, I got one of the t-shirts and they are sized pretty small. So if you think you're a large because you're so buff, then you better get an extra large. Rich says he's still wearing youth husky size. All right, guys. Social media hats, coupon, contact, email. Oh, Eco batteries at Golf Cart Garage are still 20% off, and Summit 2 chargers are back in stock. If any of you would need one of those are really good. That's what I'm worried about, Rich. Also, I'm worried about from long-term storage. You know, it wasn't in a climate-controlled building, so that motor has been sitting there in long-term storage for a few years. Lots of humidity, lots of moisture could have formed, and then dried, and then came back. And so I could have some kind of rust issue inside the motor. It's one of my thoughts. I have checked my cable for mouse evidence. Rich says he's seen corrosion on the inside crimps on the old track. Yeah, I've seen corrosion on the inside crimp. So one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to probably cut those ends off and put a new end on it. and see what I find. You know, take some insulation off that cable, see if there's any you know, corrosion. It should be pretty obvious if I just cut those ends. The other ends of the cable is not getting hot at all. In fact, the cable is not getting hot itself. It feels like it's just right at the terminal is where it's getting really, really hot. But I'll figure it out. I just haven't had time, and the weather hasn't been right, and the weather's not going to be right for the next 2 days for me to do any test driving. Now, I could cut the cables and get it ready to test drive, because I did make a few changes in some of my wiring there, so I do need it. It's due for a test drive. All right, guys, sorry about the Facebook thing again, but we'll get that worked out between me and Ayman. We'll figure that out, and we'll be back up and running for next week on both of them, and we will give away another bag of swag. I will see you guys then. The garage is now closed.